Growing up, my mother always would say to me, it's easy to want something, and you really realize how badly you want it by the work you put in. And so I try to approach the violin with that in mind of don't be stuck in the limitations of what someone said this instrument is supposed to be able to do. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. There was always music playing in my house, and I think coming up in Detroit and hearing so many different styles of music was very helpful for me because it was just music. It's all just music to me. From the beginning, I just loved playing, and my mom said from the get-go I was a ham, and I love being on stage. It definitely helped me because my ears were so strong, I could hear, and I wasn't afraid to improvise. I wasn't afraid to be off the paper. I went to the famous Cass Tech High School, and there was a bassist in the orchestra, and she ended up sitting next to me in my Spanish class, and her name is Carla Cook. And she would talk about Eddie Jefferson all the time. She'd talk about Miles and all of these other people I hadn't heard of. And she brought me my first jazz recordings. It was 3 violinists, Jean-Luc Ponty, Stephen Grappelli, and Noel Pointer. And when I took those records home and put them on, my mind was blown. And this friend of mine, Carla, she took me to hear Stephen Grappelli live in Detroit. And I remember just the joy on the musicians' faces, and that really struck me. I just said, no matter what this music is called, I want to feel that joy, and I want my audience to feel that joy. And so this is what I want to do. So after graduating high school, I didn't want to go to college. And my mother always stressed, you have to go to college. And I remember going to the big band teacher, Doc Marvin Holliday, and I walked in and I said, listen, I want to play jazz. I play violin. And he said, okay, we're going to put you in the saxophone section. You're going to read the alto charts, breathe when they breathe, phrase how they phrase, and stop listening to violin players because you don't want to sound like them. You want to find your own voice. When I moved to New York, I knew I needed to pay the rent. So whoever called for a gig, I was doing it. I had names of people to call, and one of the names was the late great writer, Greg Tate. He had a group called Women in Love. And so I played in that band. I was subbing for Lisa Terry in the Uptown String Quartet, and it was the double string quartet with Max Roach's quartet and then the Uptown String Quartet. That music kicked my behind. I was scared to death every time I set foot on that stage and with Max Roach, and just Max Roach was like a god, So I couldn't believe I was sitting on stage with him and then playing charanga music and having the opportunity to play with folks like Chucho Valdez, playing with Omar Portundo, Dolly Parton, Mary J. Blige, on and on and on. So my thing was not to limit myself. But when I received a call from Winton to tour with Blood on the Fields, touring with that group put me on the map. And it was such an incredible time, just the piece, what it was about, hearing what everyone had to learn and feel and go through, because I don't believe you can play a music without understanding why this music was made. Many years ago, a good friend of ours was visiting from Genoa, Andrea Librovici, and he said, oh, this would be great for you to do a concert in Genoa and using Paganini's violin. This violin is priceless. I had to go to a specific place to practice on the violin, and I just remember being petrified playing this instrument. And they said, well, play something. So the first thing that came to my mind was Amazing Grace, which was one of my mother's favorite tunes. And I thought, I'm going to play this to soothe all that's going on inside of me. And it was just an amazing concert. People came and they loved the concert. When I'm performing live, it's an amazing feeling, and especially when the group can lock in as one and you go into this other space. I don't even know. It's like we can communicate without words. And as I've gotten older, I think I play more with intention. What is it that I'm trying to say or get across? It's not just playing notes to get people to react, but playing something to hopefully get someone to feel something. I want to feel. I want the band to feel. I want them to feel. I'm not trying to necessarily wow you. I'm trying to convey an emotion.